So I can say good afternoon to you already without the presentation starting. So I'm really glad to be able to participate and contribute to this interesting summit here in Zug. And yes, it's especially because we are here in Zug, in the city where I live and work. So we are waiting now, I think, on the presentation, but I can perhaps explain a little bit. I'm from an institute which is called WERZ. It's an institute about knowledge, energy and resources, which is based in Zug. And it's an institute of the University of Applied Science of Rapperswil. Rapperswil is not here. It's also on a beautiful lake, on the Lake of Zurich. But why is the Institute WERZ based in Zug? It's because it's an initiative of the Canton of Zug. Zug initiated about 5 years ago this institute, asked us to develop an institute to support businesses in energy and resource efficiency. So we have started and we developed advanced courses for study the subject energy and resource efficiency for professionals which are already in businesses. And so we are back on that's WERZ. And yes, as I said, it's a corporation project. And what are the services that we provide? Is this advanced education in energy and resource efficiency. And then we also organize events, local clean tech events, science awards, and we have developed network management. Network management for federal programs or cantonal program on resource efficiency, on sustainability, especially for SME, for small and medium-sized companies. And we have research and development project also in the same topic. So, but now what I want to talk about is resource efficiency, and I want to start with a slide on why. It was already said also this morning by Mr. Rubinstein, resource demand, resource efficiency is really an important topic in the future. And this slide shows very nicely the problem. So this slide shows the resource use of natural resources, of ores and minerals for industry, minerals for construction, fossil fuels, biomass, since the beginning of the last century. And what we see a slight moderate increase till about the 1950, and then you see it started to grow much more rapidly, and in the last decades we see nearly an exponential growth in resource use, in resource demand. And you see that between 2000 and 2009 the global consumption increased more than GDP. So the reason we know it's growing middle class in very highly populated countries like China, India, but it's not only in these developing countries or in these growing countries, it's also in Switzerland, for example. Also in Switzerland we see an increase in demand of resources. You think about all our goods are becoming less and less durable. We change things much more rapidly than before. So that all has a big impact, a big environmental and a big social impact. All these things you have to mine, you have to process until they become products that we use. But all the problems always are, as we have seen before, big opportunities, big business opportunities. And now all over we have people think about resources, but think about all these opportunities that we see happening. And for example, here just British businesses says there is an opportunity of 23 billion annually in Britain, but we have studies that's something from Switzerland. You think that companies could increase resource efficiency by 25 to 30% quite easily within the next 10 years, or that's a quote out of a study of Europe, which says it's also very beneficial for companies if we enter resource efficiency projects. So big business opportunities. So you think, why is it not just happening? Why is that not happening, and why are companies not jumping to exploit that big opportunities? And that's because between the opportunities and the businesses, there are really big barriers. Big barriers that we know. It's changes. Changes are not really easy to make happen. Changes need investment. And then what we also saw happening is price of raw materials are highly fluctuating, and people think, oh, perhaps it's a problem that goes away. It's not really a problem that will stay. There is short-term profit expectation versus more a long-term perspective. Projects with shorter payback periods are preferred. And there is also still lack of awareness that resource efficiency might be a solution, might be beneficial to tackle that. And in resource efficiency, we have the complexity of the value chain. It goes into the whole value chain of product and processes. So that's what has been recognized all over. And all over the world, governments are now trying to stepping a bit in, because they think we have to tackle that. If we want to tackle some ecological impact that we have to tackle the resource efficiency issues. And also in Switzerland, that started, and now there is a small governmental funded program. It's called the New Network for Resource Efficiency in Switzerland, the REFNet. And it started by supporting companies with the help of some experts. So this program is a program from the Federal Office of the Environment, and it gives access to a network of experts which help businesses identify the potential of resource efficiency, help them develop some action plan, support for implementation. So it's a small program which helps raise awareness, especially in SMEs. And the program was initiated about 2 years ago. Currently about 130 companies are making use of the program, and 33 consultancies are completed. And about 25 experts work now in this network to help businesses work towards resource efficiency. And I'm talking about this project because we as WERTZ, we are the National Coordination Office here in Zug for this project. Here, a small example what this program does. For example, helping a small business which does some digital and offset printing and produces 400 tons of printing products a year. So they found quite nice reduction possibilities of and reduced product losses. They were able to reduce losses in thermal energy. And you see, with this project, they could nearly save 10% of the materials that they have in output. Also, quite a lot of heating oil. And what is very special with this program, we were asked by the federal government to assess the impacts, to really measure what is happening. And we have set up a program to quickly assess what that means in environmental impact point. So it's a scientific method based on life cycle assessment to assess not only the cost savings and the real resource savings, but also overall what it is in environmental impact. And another example is also a company who produces salads and who wants now to switch to hydroculture and produce more salads again in Switzerland. So, because people now all year around, they would like to have salads, and instead of importing salads, they try to now produce that in Switzerland. And also, they assess now the ecological assessment, the impact that they can reduce by producing these salads in a new way. And also here you see high reduction of environmental impact point. This 2,000 million, so this 2 billion UBP, you can compare that to an inhabitant of Switzerland. Each inhabitant of Switzerland produces about 20 million environmental impact points per year for just all what it needs to live and be here in Switzerland. So you see the reduction is quite important. And we have seen now with this 2-year start, with the 33 companies that we have provided services to, that each Swiss franc that went into supporting them with expert advice resulted in about at least 10 Swiss francs of company savings. But this, as was said before, this is public funding. And public funding is limited in time, space, amount. So will there be other funds possible in the future? And what we have heard also, there are a lot of new ways of funding in energy. You have now energy performance contracting, where you have now energy services companies develop projects, invest capitals, guarantee saving, take risk, and the client don't need to have upfront capital. So there are new ways, also private, public partnerships, funding within the energy sector. But we didn't find any funding up until now in this resource efficiency area. And what we think is resource efficiency is an imperative, and if you want to have an effective climate policy, you will not get it without also working much more on resource efficiency. Every material that you have to produce needs energy, needs other resources. So also now it's much more recognized that energy and resources have to be considered together. And what I have tried to show is with this little project that resource efficiency is an interesting investment theme. resource-efficient companies will gain long-term competitive advantage. I think there is a growing demand for solution and solution providers to the resource challenges. And the quest for resource efficiency will stimulate technological innovation and create new markets. So, why it's not happening, and that's, we think that there are also challenges, not only barrier to resource efficiency, but also challenges to fund resource efficiency versus energy efficiency measures. And that's because resource efficiency often apply much more to core processes and products of the industry versus energy, which is much more an auxiliary process for many industries. What you have seen is also understanding resource efficiency is more complex, they are more diverse in nature, and often the cost savings are more difficult to assess and are sometimes distributed over the whole value chain. So I would like to end my presentation with a question to the audience and to the Summit of Impact Investment. Is it possible to find new ways and new partners to fund a program like RefNet in the future and also get impacts? Thank you.